Most people don't break because life is hard. They break because nothing goes the way they planned. You set a goal, you work for it, you believe you're finally moving forward, and then something blocks you. Not once, not twice, but again and again, until you start asking yourself whether it's just bad luck or if you're simply not meant for more. There was a young man named Eli who lived in a quiet village surrounded by hills, a place that was peaceful but small, and to him, suffocating. He didn't want an ordinary life. He wanted to leave, to explore, to build something bigger than what he was born into, mapping out a future no one else believed in. One day, he finally stopped dreaming and decided to act. He packed his belongings, said goodbye to his mother, and walked toward the only road that led out of the village, feeling for the first time that his life was about to change. But just outside the village, a river cut across his path, and the wooden bridge that connected him to his future had been destroyed overnight. No warning, no alternative, just a broken path and the sound of rushing water. Eli stood there, staring in disbelief, not even angry, just confused, asking why this had to happen now. With no way forward, he turned back. Weeks later, the bridge was rebuilt, and he tried again, holding on to what little hope he had left. But this time, life struck closer. On the very morning he was preparing to leave, his father fell from a ladder and was left unable to stand. Suddenly, Eli was forced to choose between chasing his dream and staying to care for his family. There was no easy answer, no perfect solution, just responsibility pulling him in one direction and ambition in the other. In the end, he unpacked his things and stayed. Months passed in quiet repetition, days blending into each other as he worked, waited, and wondered if his life had already settled into something smaller than he had imagined. Eventually, his father recovered, and Eli, still unwilling to let go completely, decided to try one last time. A caravan was passing nearby, and they needed workers. It felt like his final opportunity. But on the morning he prepared to leave, his donkey, the only way he could reach the caravan in time, fell sick and collapsed. At that moment, something inside him didn't explode. It simply gave up. Not dramatically, not loudly, but quietly, the way hope usually fades when it has been tested too many times. He stopped making plans, stopped asking questions, and stopped expecting anything to work. He just lived day by day, doing what needed to be done. One afternoon, while wandering through the fields with no clear purpose, he noticed an old woman working alone near the edge of the land. She had seen him before, but this time she called him over and told him that he walked like someone carrying a heavy weight. Eli didn't hide anything. He told her about every failed attempt, every closed path, every moment he felt like life itself was pushing him back. Then he admitted what he had been afraid to say out loud, that he didn't know whether he was the problem, or if life simply didn't want him to move forward. The woman didn't comfort him or argue with him. Instead, she handed him 2 small seeds and gave him a simple instruction. Plant one where the ground is hard, and the other where the soil is soft, and come back after some time. Confused but willing, Eli did exactly that. He planted one seed in the dry, beaten path where people walked every day, and the other beside a quiet stream where the soil was rich and moist. Then he returned to his routine and forgot about them. Weeks later, he remembered and went back to check. The first seed had completely disappeared, crushed into the dirt with no sign it had ever existed. The second seed, however, had grown into a small green plant, fragile but alive, standing firmly in the soft soil. At that moment, something shifted in his understanding. The seeds had been the same, the effort had been the same, but the outcome was completely different because of where they were planted. When the old woman saw him again, she told him that he had been blaming himself for not growing, without ever questioning whether he was trying to grow in the right place. That truth stayed with him. From that day on, he stopped chasing the road and started building something where he already stood. He took care of the small plant, protected it, and remained consistent through changing seasons. Over time, the plant grew into a strong tree with wide branches that offered shade to anyone passing by. Travelers began to stop and rest there, so Eli built a small shelter and left water for strangers. What started as a simple act slowly turned into something meaningful, a place people relied on without him ever planning it. Years later, a large caravan passed through, its leader weak and its people exhausted. Eli offered them food, water, and a place to rest under the tree he had nurtured. When the leader recovered, he asked who had built such a peaceful and welcoming place. Eli answered simply that he had stopped chasing the road and instead built something beside it. Impressed, the leader promised to send supplies regularly so that Eli and his family would always have enough. In time, that promise was kept. Eli never became the traveler he once dreamed of being, but something unexpected happened. The world began coming to him. What he had once chased endlessly eventually found its way into his life, not through force, but through patience and alignment. As the years passed, Eli would often sit under the tree at night, looking up at the stars through its branches, remembering the broken bridge, his father's fall, and every setback that once felt like the end of his journey. Now, they looked different. They no longer felt like obstacles. They felt like direction. He realized that every closed path had quietly led him to something he never could have planned on his own. And maybe that's the part most people miss. It's not always your effort that's wrong. It's the direction. You keep pushing, forcing things to happen your way, and when they don't, you call it failure. But sometimes it's not failure at all. Sometimes it's life refusing to let you grow in the wrong place. Not every closed door is a loss, and not every delay is a setback. Some things are simply guiding you, even when it feels like you're being held back. The problem is, you can't see that in the moment. You only see what didn't work, what didn't happen, what didn't go according to plan. But somewhere, something might already be growing in a place you haven't been paying attention to. And if you're honest with yourself, the real question isn't why things aren't working. It's whether you've been trying to grow in the wrong soil all along.